All right. Hey, welcome into Friday afternoon's yoga practice. Now, I've got two clocks. I've got one that's just saying that it's just about 5 to. The other one's about 4 minutes to. I've just got my charger in on my phone just at the moment. So I'm going to allow you time to settle. Good. And come into Shavasana corpse pose. Feel free to take your legs up the wall. Line your back, your belly on your side, somewhere comfortable. So you can just allow yourself to just see what's happening through your day and then see what you can let go of that has happened in the earlier part of your day. Now, you've got a couple of minutes, so don't rush. Make sure that you find that comfortable place. Hi, Danielle. How are you going? Look at my hair. It's got long. It's also showing signs of the grey underneath. It's like, oh my God, fathers, that is so crazy. Can I put up with it for a month? I don't know. I might need to go and buy some shaving gear and then shave it back off again. Anyway, hope you girls are fine. Hope those of you that are coming in are also fine. It's still a beautiful day out there today, and I can see if I can see Mr. Mac. You might not be able to see him. Might turn him around. You might just get him at the window lying on his mat. Maybe. Yeah, you could just see him there. Anyway, that should give me enough battery charge so that as I unplug and then set the camera up, and then I'll go back to my mat. There we go. That should give us plenty of room as we look back, as we look over. That's cool. There we go. Oh, beautiful. I must say I'm ever so grateful for the weather that we have been able to have, even though I haven't spent much time outside. So I'm going to, along with you, really enjoy this afternoon's practice. My eyes need to close. My body needs to take a time out from my eye gaze being in the screen. So if you've been similar to myself, just enjoy this practice this afternoon. Lots of lateral movement to allow us to fully extend from side to side, and then indeed to be able to fill up our lungs. So hopefully you're all beginning to settle. Just a wee wipe off my little nostrils. And then if you have already found your way down onto your mat, just to close your eyes. That first sensation when our bodies just go down onto the floor, but they're taken care of and supported by our mat. So just allow yourself just to embrace this break, this time out, if indeed it's kind of like working into the part of your day that you actually need a little bit of brain rest, body rest. It's going to get up off the chair, doesn't have to look into the screen. So you can, if you want to, just listen and follow. So it might also be just a quite nice way to enjoy your practice this afternoon. All right, so I'm just going to put my glasses on, so make sure that you are comfortable. I've been doing a little bit more reading. Today's Louise Hay. She writes such appropriate stuff, whether it's today, yesterday, it's for tomorrow, or it might have been 10 years ago, but still all relevant to ourselves now. So close your eyes, embrace your bodies, let go of the earlier part of your day, and just lie there with that quietness and stillness that you deserve. And then just find your breath. Try and find that rhythm, and then once you've adapted and found that rhythm, just give yourselves a little bit of time. Then these words will resonate into your body. In the infinity of life where I am, now this is you and me, all is perfect, whole, and complete. And yet life is ever changing. There is no beginning and no end, only a constant cycling and recycling. Taking your time and then allowing yourself just to feel the experience. Life is never stuck or static or stale, for each moment is ever new and fresh. I and we, one with the very power that created us, and this power has been given to us to create our own circumstances. So let's rejoice together this afternoon in the knowledge that we have the power of our own mind to use in any way that we choose. Therefore, every moment of life is a new beginning. It's a point as we move from the old. And this moment is a new point of beginning for us right here, right now. All is well in our world. Just allow yourselves to remain where you are. Maybe some of that resonated, maybe it went straight over you, and that doesn't matter. As long as now you're feeling your way through your body, experiencing the release of the heaviness that you first might have experienced when you took that body down to the floor. Now in the process of letting the thoughts just travel past, sometimes they have to filter through. So maybe you might like to take that breath out through your mouth a couple of times and use it like a flushing system. So if it's still heavy in your mind, then let it travel all the way through your body, out through your feet, and then, of course, let Mother Earth just take it. Take 5 more breaths, breathing in and breathing out. Feel the evenness and the smoothness as you start to relax into the space that you are now creating for yourselves. Notice the breath, listening, feeling, and pulling all of your senses to taste, to smell, to hear, to see, and all that we can feel. And then maybe on that last exhale, now bring all of that into your body and fill your body with love and compassion for self. Take a little bit of time to transition here. So if you've just started to feel that melting sensation, I want you to start to just come out of it really slowly. So don't shock your body, especially if it went down there and thought, oh wow, she's going to send me to sleep for the next 40 minutes. Oh, bliss, how that would be. So let's transition. The first place that you will come to is to puppy pose. So now hips up a little higher, arms going out a little further, and chest coming down to the ground. So depending on if that chest has touched the floor, then just allow that chin to just also touch the ground. So you've just tilted the head, lifting the chin towards the front end of your mat, just releasing through the back and the shoulders. And then we'll slide back towards the heels. So just walking nice and slow, and just give that lower part of your body just time to soften and to open. That softening and opening, enjoy that experience. So you go in here really with an intention that you are able to feel what you can change. So we lift away from the heels, we'll creep maybe a little further forward and keep the feet active to the floor. Let's take the chest down a little bit deeper. Make sure you've got the elbows down here on the ground and you're still able to drive back towards the hips. Just Just make sure that your ankles are comfortable for your knees. So if you need to have your feet more parallel, if they're a little bit more comfortable, just turned in or even turned out, just be aware of your knees from your hips. So let's walk this back one more time and just try to allow ourselves to feel that sense of evenness as we come nice and close to the ground. Walking your way up into tabletop, and then hands a little further to the front, hips are still over the knees. As you come into cat, navel to spine, chin to your chest, head coming right between your shoulders. And tucking the toes under and warming into the feet. So just pretend you're the cat and you're treading the mat or your owner. And then take your hips back towards your heels. So make sure you're pushing the hands down, hips back, and really stretching into the toes. Now if you can maintain to be here and still come forward a little bit, and then again just bringing that chest and that chin back down towards the ground. But keep the work going to the back so you can feel the stretching into those toes. Walking your way back, but not all the way back. Just enough so that you can push the hands down into the ground. And when you pull the knees up and move the hips back enough that you're in crouching dog pose. And then to lift up those hips, extend the legs. Look back at the feet and watch the heels working their way down to the ground. Lifting up off the heels to walk your feet to the back of your hands. And to fold forward. Now remember, let the shoulders relax. Empty out your mind. Come forward from the hips and just feel everything here now. Now there's a certain heaviness I want you just to be aware of, especially the muscles of your eyes. And then all of that oxygen rushing into your mind. Now that it's empty, it can take up all of that space. So it's super, super excited. On an inhale, climb up the shins. And then let all of that work its way through the whole of your body. Sitting the chest forward, the shoulders going back. Let's take the arms behind to interlace. And then continue to fold forward and get as close in as you can to look up towards the navel. And let go of all that emotional stuff that we create, because all that we're doing right now, there's pressure. So I want you to let it go. Create this beautiful space for your bodies. Each exhale, see if you can come a little bit deeper. See what you need to still maybe let go of. So tuck your chins in. And when you release the hands back towards the hips, then when you let them go, let the arms drop down to the floor. And any weight, and make sure that your shoulders don't come crashing up to your ears as you keep them set back. Inhale again. Look out further to the top of your mat. Now you can have hands on shins or hands on your toes, or fingers just to forward of your feet on the mat. And taking your time here to just bend those legs, just dropping the hips, and then step back, right to left, back into downward facing dog. Now, take your time as you look out to the side and drive the hips back. Look to the front, drive the hips back. Look off to the other side, drive your hips back. Look back to your feet. Awesome. And don't think looking at your toes and checking out your toes, or particularly your toenails. Check out if your feet are anchoring you down onto your mat. So we'll walk the hands back to the feet and we'll fold forwards. So checking back in as to how you feel now, maybe less intensity of that weight. Checking back through the shoulders. And then physically, just talk nicely to your calves and your hamstrings. And now we'll return to the floor. So you just bend your legs enough so you can come back to tabletop. Awesome. So turn yourselves around now to kneel on your mat and use the length of your mat like landscape. Okay. And so the first lateral movement we will do will be what I call our gate poses. So take your time as you extend a leg out to the side. Now, it doesn't matter which leg it is, okay? So if you're mirror imaging me, this would then be your left leg. But it doesn't matter. If you want to go right, as in you're verbally listening, then that's fine. But just make sure that the knee that you're still kneeling on is direct in line with your hip. And the foot at the back is anchoring down to the floor, so try not to have your toes tucked under here. So arms go out to the side, and we travel down the back leg. I should say the side leg. You're going to move the hips over to the left or to the right. And we'll see if we can travel down the leg a little bit further. But don't lose your opening, okay? So suddenly you felt, oops, okay, that was a little bit of tight feeling. That was a little bit unexpected. Just take your time as you breathe. Keep your inner thighs working and, of course, your core. And when you come back from here, make sure you're not pushing on the leg or locking up into the knee. So make sure you can feel the inner thighs. There's kind of like a rebound effect because that's a big stretch. So without any blocks, okay, as we wrap this arm around the back, so this is your short side, come on over to the short side and make sure you're using that extended leg so you don't fall over. Good. Notice that we are not able to go as far here. Nothing to hold on to, nothing to push against. So now you really have to work all of those really strong parts of our core, including those legs. And then we can come back to the center. Awesome. So let's take the knees to the floor. I'll turn side on now and tuck the toes under if you feel comfortable. So as you take a spinal twist here, okay, camel twist, we're going to rotate to your right. So your right hand comes to find your right heel. Your left arm goes over your ear, the palm looks down to the floor. So let your body follow your spine. So you don't have to be pushing down here. Make sure hips are moving forward. So in theory, you could wrap that arm around your back. But if you need that little support, just make sure you're not pushing against the ankle and buckling your feet through the ankles. Come back to the center. Take plenty of time. You can release your toes if you need to. And then around to the other side we go. So strong through the toes and the ankles. Around we go. Nice and strong stretching through the intercostal muscles. Through the back. And lifting up and moving those hips forward. Coming back, nice and slowly. So the toes are already tucked under, so let's just sit back over the heels. Now always remember, these are not comfortable places. Toes tucked under, not all of our toes tuck under and connect to the mat. So if this is uncomfortable, remember, release off and then just sit here, but just make sure you're getting that stretch. If you're still here, that's fine, because then you can take your hands to the floor, and I haven't forgotten the other side. We come up into downward facing dog and adjust your length. And then just feel the difference between each side of your body. Big breaths. So your body has probably forgotten that we're going to do the other side. So just come down out of your downward facing dog nice and slowly. And then when you're ready, take the opposite leg out to the side. So again, just checking that you're not pulling that hip across. If you want something for your knee, you can either double up your mat or you can have a little towel underneath your mat. Let's go over to the side, down the leg. Hip goes out to the side. We come sliding down. Now remember, no hand needed, so you don't have to push on the leg. And I want you to open. Good. So the arm, it could be right behind you. But it's nice to have kind of like a little guide. How far further down or deep can I go in the pose? Now don't force it. Remember, lift, reach. Beautiful. Take plenty of time because you'll come back and you'll feel that rebound. Good. So as you come across to the other side, wrap the arm. Good. Really anchor that leg, inner thighs, glutes. And then over we go. So again, noticing one side's going to allow us to go deeper. So always just being and having that awareness of the left and the right side of our body. So our congestion, that sticking, being stuck, find out what side it will tend to be for your body. And then we'll come back nice and slowly. Let's lose that knee and bring that knee back to the floor. So coming back to your camel, good. Now, when I come into like a modified thunderbolt pose here, just remember here again, how are your thighs, how are your calves, how are your hamstrings. Do you need to have something underneath your ankles to your shins? Okay. So when I go down here, hands first, elbows second, finding my feet. Maybe moving and having a little bit more space between my thighs. And then head goes down. And you're feeling the stretch into those thighs. Use your elbows, stay supported. Hands on top of your heels, stay supported through your elbows. Head comes back first. Take your time resetting. And when you come up, try and come up as even as possible through the hips. Tuck your toes under and come back into downward facing dog. Just stretch all of that out. So all of that after about 4 more breaths. Take your time. Now if you need to come down before that to child pose, please feel free to listen to your body and surrender when it's time. So when we come to a place to rest, always remember it's really easy for our busy minds to come back to being busy with all of the stuff that's on the outside. So remember that your practice is about you. So when we come to a place now it's almost like reflecting what you've done, how you felt, how's the energy. But when we come back, just noticing the breathing change as well, because now it needs to have come back to that smooth, that deep sensation of the energy now moving through your body, creating vibration so that it's now preparing for the next part of your movement or your asana or your poses part of your practice. So use this as a meditation time but not to wander out to the outside world and be distracted. So when you're ready, come on back to tabletop. So we're coming down onto our elbows to create our plank, to take this into our side plane, okay? So I want you just to take your time as you tuck your toes under, and once the knees have lifted, you can work those feet out. Make sure you can grab the mat with the balls of your feet. So we're going to turn the left arm in, so the left elbow sits underneath the shoulder, and your left hand sits in line with your right elbow. I'm going to look at my left foot, I'm going to turn it over on its edge, and I'm going to check that the heel is lined up with my elbow. Then I'm going to stack the feet, and then I'm going to find my body on that side plane. But I really want to extend that arm. Good. Now, if you're feeling a bit wobbly, the top leg, bend it and take it behind you. And then allow yourself to open a little bit more. So leading the chest up, not falling down into the shoulder. We come around, elbow, feet, back into plank. And then all the way down to the ground. Elbows out to the side, hands sit on top of each other, forehead sits on top of the hands, and slowly think locust pose as we start to lift from the navel, chest, shoulders, keeping the chin tucked in. Easy locust pose, and keep the legs active and the feet pushing down into the ground. And then we release back down. The hands come back to the outside of the chest. We lift up into cobra. Then just lift your hips up and just reorganize your body to come back to tabletop. Coming back down onto your elbows. Now just keep breathing. Now you'll probably know, wonder why she got us down there to rest. As soon as you're in tabletop, allow yourself to just feel that neutral spine. And that will set you up when you come into that side plank. Toes tuck under. Find your way around. So right arm, elbow out to the side. It lines up with your shoulder. And as soon as you turn your right foot over, the heel and the hip and the elbow line up together and we open. Here comes the arm over the ear. Lifting up and bending the leg if you want to open out a little bit more. And again, just as we were in camel and twisting, each side a little bit different. Back around we come, walking, and down to the ground we go. Take a rest, elbows out to the side, and your forehead sitting on your hands. So this time, make sure you're really strong through your legs. As we lift them up off the ground, not too high. You keep your forehead sitting on your hands, and we lift into our flying locust. The arms can go out to the sides. They can go down by your sides. Nice shoulder rotations. Palms can come together. Lifting up the chest. Keep the chin tucked in, or you can just lift it out. When the hands come back, they're back to the outside of your chest. Almost like a seesaw. Up comes the chest, down go the legs. As the hips come up, take them back to child pose. Now come back to rest and breathe. Beautiful. I'm listening for your breathing. You should be able to feel that change in your heart, that pumping, that circulation, and then that respiratory system that's now working in conjunction with your circulatory system. And then your central nervous system. So I want you to actually pull it all together. Stay connected with the flow as you breathe in and out through your nose. Mac is alongside the camera, is sleeping, and I can hear him breathing. He's not snoring. He is breathing in and out through his nose. And just like a child, he's kind of like going, I won't close my eyes completely because something might happen and I won't be able to see it. So his eyes are half open and half closed. But I want yours to be closed so that you can now see inside. You can now feel at that deeper level. Awesome. And so keeping close to the ground, as you come back up and come to sit, now I'm again using the landscape part of my mat. So we're going to take our legs out wide. So if you're in your own home, this would probably be fine in the amount of space that you've got. We're going to bring one leg to the inside. So we've still got both hips open, but one leg open, extension, and the other one bent. So if this feels really uncomfortable and that knee's sitting up around your ear, feel free to allow yourselves to just have both legs extended. Now, just take your time here, because I'm going to now turn my torso to my right or my bent leg. Okay, so if you're not mirror imaging me, okay, so take your time. You're going to slide your arm down the extended leg while you're looking out there to your bent leg. So take your time now and make sure that your buttocks don't lift up off the floor as we slide down the inside of that leg, but just enough so you can grip the ground and then remind the butt that he's got to stay to the ground too. And then over comes the arm. So thinking about where and how far you have taken this lateral movement now. A similar position to, say, Warrior 2. But I want you to really open the chest. You don't have to look up for the hand. You might be able to turn to look for the elbow. But sometimes it's just nice to just follow the spine and the head to be in its happy place connected to your neck. Now, as we come back, I want you to take your time, because now your hand comes to the outside of your bent leg and we lift up off the hips. Take a little bit of time to adjust the angle of your foot on the extended leg and over we go. So looking at the hand down on the ground, make sure that all of your links are coming up. So you've got wrist and elbow, chest to shoulder, and then there's a little bit of rotation here. And then there's a big breath that's going to bring us all the way back down to the ground. Awesome. Take your time, both legs back out, happy. Or if they're out here, that's fine. All right, come forward from your hips. Take your time here, looking down to the earth. Closing your eyes here. And then just allowing yourselves to tuck the chin in, and then just take that stretch through the neck and look back towards the navel or up towards the heart center. When we come out of here, I want you to push the hands down, point the toes, and then lifting out, just searching, just following your nose. So again, keeping that eye gaze nice and soft. So that work into the inner thighs, and keep that nice contraction going down through your legs. Then to walk the hands back, and then take your time. If you need to shake out your legs, shake out your legs. And we're changing sides. So we'll rotate now to look to the bent leg. Slide the opposite hand down the inside of the extended leg. So straight away, grabbing the ground so you're not going to lift your hip up off the floor. And then again, the same, even though these ankles are just slightly different, you're going to feel the same connection of those back muscles and hip muscles. I kind of like just tugging a little bit more on one side than they might be on the other. So let's see if we can open the chest. Maybe even come a little deeper. Now remember, don't just drop your head. You're bringing your whole body over. Softening your eye gaze, finding the breath, and trying to release any of that tension and tightness that you've already recognized. And then we come back, almost like a floating sensation, okay? It's the hand coming to the outside of your bent leg. Let's lift up those hips. Take plenty of time to adjust the feet. Move the hips forward. Maybe just follow your nose again. And be surprised that you might be able to look further than you thought. And then slowly coming back to the ground. And this time to bring the feet in together to butterfly. So when the feet come together, some of us can have them quite close and the knees dropping down. Some of you might need to have your feet a little further forward, maybe even your feet out a little away from each other. So find your place for your butterfly, your monarch butterfly, or you could be a moth, doesn't really matter. Just find where you can release to open and then come forward. So remember, I've come forward from the hips, but now I'm going to soften my spine so I can round through my back, and it allows the shoulders to now just soften, roll forward, bring the head through, and then let the elbows sit down to the floor. At the same time, dropping the knees out to the side, down to the ground. Resting in butterfly pose, just taking your time to again just gaze in, always listening, but never any expectations. And then we roll out nice and slowly. So now when you take your legs out to the front or out to the side a little bit, give them a shake. Like a good shake. Good. And then come back over on to your mat. And let's stretch all of that out in the plane that we're a little bit more familiar with and come into downward facing dog. So all of that work makes for a really happier warrior 2 or triangle pose. But we're going to do warrior 2 with that extension of trying to get that arm underneath that leg. So take your time, bring your left foot through to the inside of your hands. Take plenty of time to adjust and then come up just to find your feet. Now, we have been on the ground, like right down on the ground. So I want you just to take your time to come up onto your feet, get a little bit of sense of, whoa, man, okay, so just let all of that settle. And then find your feet, find your legs. Good. Create as much depth, but holding on to all of that work that we got through the inner thighs and the opening through the hips and the back. So when you're ready, you can take your arms out to the side. Good. So come from the back to the front and just rest your forearm on your thigh, hand on the belly. We'll extend this now right arm up towards the ceiling. Then we'll bring it over the ear with the palm down. And then we want to come deeper to try and get that shoulder to the inside of the knee. So lots of adjusting with the feet, and keep an eye on your inner thighs and your glutes. Now, if you can get the depth and the shoulder right down there to the inside of the knee, your left arm can go underneath your thigh, not around your hip. The right arm comes back and behind you, and you open out the chest. And I'll just look out to the side. You can look out a little further behind if you want. But just keep everything active to your glutes. Everything active here to your core. Good. And then when you let go, we can swivel all of that around. So you're back into your lunge. Let's take our time to get that right knee to the floor and release your foot. You can move your left foot out of the way just a little bit, and then you can bring the hands to the inside. So this comes into a rotation now, so make sure you're not kneeling directly on your kneecap. See how I've come down through those hips, so that when I bend my leg, I can feel that stretch through my thighs. When I pull back the chest through from the hips and rotate to look to my left, and my left hand will catch my right foot. So now you've taken quite an intense twist. So make sure it's the torso, and make sure that as you pull that heel towards you, your thigh, your quads are getting that stretch. We let the foot go, we turn back around, take plenty of time to get your left foot back in, release your right knee and step back into downward facing dog. Now you need 5 breaths here to kind of like think about where your feet need to go and give them a chance from the other side to catch up. Relax through the neck, try not to fall forward into the shoulders. Now you've got 2 more breaths while I scoot around to the other side of the mat. So when you're ready to bring your right foot through to the inside of your hands, again taking plenty of time, moving the hips, and then when you come up to stand, because our hips are also so different on each side, back, front and sides, take a little bit of time to adjust your feet. Good. Find your balance from here. Good. And make sure you're not pushing your feet forward, that you're pushing them down. When you're ready, out go the arms. So back to warrior 2, but on the other side. So we go from the back to the front. It's the arm resting on the thigh, hand to the belly. Let's bring that left arm up towards the ceiling. And adjusting each time. Adjusting for each side as well. Arm comes over. Good. Shoulder goes down to the inside of the knee. Still lots of adjusting. Just make sure that your knee doesn't go over your front toes. Arm goes underneath your thigh. Now don't worry if it doesn't go too far, because when you bring your left arm back, you take it behind you. Either link onto your fingers or onto your wrists, and then open. But keep your extended leg really working. So here's the gates that we went through earlier on. Making sure that you can move here. Good. Then we let go, we turn it around. Then we get that right foot out of the way, hands coming in, left knee going to the floor. Lots of time here, take plenty of time. If you need to come up onto your fingertips, fine. Okay, so making sure that you can slide off the kneecap and you're coming in to the thigh. Good. So have that right leg out a little further. So here comes the leg to bend. Pull the torso back, turn the torso. There's the right hand, finding your right foot. You can hold it here, hold it here. As long as you're not pulling on your shoulder, then all of that work's coming from your chest. And you're bringing that heel as close to your hip as you can, and you'll feel, wow man, are my quads that tight? Yes, they are. We'll let the foot go. Turn the body back around. Walk the foot in, that's your right foot. Tuck your toes under left. And then let's get back into downward facing dog. 5 breaths. This should be where you feel now the most comfortable. Totally surrendering now into downward facing dog. Hello. What's your name? What have you got? A pig. Have you got a pig? Oh, look at that downward facing dog. Are you showing off? Eh? Are you showing off? And you're going to give mum a pig? What's mum going to do with the pig? Hey? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Awesome. So when you're ready now, come to all fours and surrender to child pose. Oh, beautiful. Can I rest on your head? Thank you. That's really nice. Are you going to whisper to me? Hey, did you pinch that pig off my line? Hey, did you bring the washing in? Hey, did you think to bring the washing in, or did you just pull the pigs and then let the washing all fall down on the ground? Oh, dear me. All right, as we do, time goes really fast. I want you to just find your way around and come down on to your back. Now we've done a lot of work that we just need to release, guys. So when you come down, just take your time bringing the knees into chest. Nice pillow, thank you. Good. Open the hips. Take the feet to the floor. And then easy window wiper. Roll from one side to the other. Quite easy for animals, isn't it? Cats, dogs, pigeons. Come across to the other side. So I'm pleased that I read the words of wisdom from Louise Hay at the beginning, because we were just going to just cruise to the end of our practice. And again, just embrace the work that you've done. Always say thank you to your body. Remember that we are made up of so many systems we take for granted. So our yoga practice should actually allow us to embrace and be grateful that most of our systems function all together in harmony. But sometimes there's a little bit of a flip. Now once you come back to the centre, just bring the knees back into your chest. Head and shoulders off the floor. Big, well-deserved hug. And then we'll roll off to the side. Kind of like chilled dog. I know. So as we finish our practice this Friday afternoon, let's bring our hands together to prayer. Let's bow our heads. And to all of you out here, out there, if you practice with me this afternoon, or you might practice later on today or even this evening, my thoughts are with all of you, and I hope that you are all doing really, really well as we still move through this challenging time in all of our lives. So remember, keep this flow, this breath, this energy. So we'll honour breath and life together. And then we'll bring those heads back to sit on our shoulders. And don't force the eyes open. Just feel the relax and the release of the eye muscles as you slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Yay, there we go. Can they see you? There we go. That is side corpse. Beautiful. Aren't you just too clever? Excellent. Wonderful, people. Wonderful.